What up, YouTube? Today I want to talk to y'all about this whole DJ Akademiks, Charlamagne the God situation that a lot of people tend to think or have reason to believe that they will one day be embroiled in a beef, but I have reasons why I think that will never happen. All this does stem from the last episode of the Joe Budden podcast, where Joe Budden had speculated that there could be a beef on the horizon between the two.
Ak and Charlamagne are beefing, but I don't want to be the one to blow it up.
They do the quiet beef?
But they beefing.
Like passive aggressive beef?
Yes.
Okay.
And it always stops because Ak says, no, he's not talking about me.
He not.
And that's the end. But he's definitely talking about you.
No,
I think it's hard to beef with somebody that you look up to.
Why is Joe saying this? Charlamagne is not beefing with me. Like, yo, listen, me and Charlamagne, there's some mutual respect there. We know how Charlamagne has given it up in the past, and I feel like if he was to get to the point of wanting to publicly beef with me, he would have given it up in the same regards. Now, granted, I will admit, I do think it's a little odd that we haven't talked. Because usually right about this time, we talk and we laugh at the things that people are saying. It's kind of been radio silent. I'm going to be honest with you. It ain't been like, yo, Ak, yo, don't even feed into that. Bro, you know, like whatever, and we just chop it up and we catch up on like mad shit. It's kind of been a little silent. But I still don't believe it.
I think it's hard to beef with somebody that you look up to.
And it is. Oh, I don't.
And Ak looks up to Charlamagne and respects him, so it's hard. Sometimes you got to just take the shots at somebody from somebody you respect.
It is hard to beef with Charlamagne. And that is just the honest truth. There's too much admiration there. I listened to this before. I think Ish is gonna make a point that's very like, you'll hear it.
He talks about Charlamagne with a different type of reverence.
He does.
He talks about the both of y'all with a certain type of reverence. And
very factuals.
I think you still want to keep the relationship possibilities open.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when Ak go, he go. Like, he just go. And I don't think he is prepared to do that with Charlamagne.
Ish, this is why I love you as a podcast, because you're right. The way how I get at people, I know if I ever did that with Charlamagne, it's no coming back. Also, it would probably hurt me, maybe not as much, but it would hurt me to even do that.
Now, in terms of how an alleged beef could go about them, it all depends on how far it's going to go. At most, it'll be just a simple, cordial response, simply because of the fact that Charlamagne was the guy that really gave Akademiks a chance when somebody like Ebro never gave him a chance. And Akademiks is going to always remember that, and that's why Charlamagne holds a special place in his heart and in his mind, because he's the one who gave him his very, very first break when nobody else would. And that type of memory goes a very long way. And if they was to be embroiled in a back and forth, it would just be cordial. Because of that relationship and friendship they developed over the years, it ain't gonna be what people would think or hope for. Oh, Akademiks jumping out the window. And his chat and fan base may deem it a bit boring, because they are used to seeing Akademiks more often than not respond the most egregious of ways. And I don't think he could even afford to respond to Charlamagne in an egregious manner, because Charlamagne is revered as a media darling. Whether people want to believe that or not is up for debate. The reason why I would say he's a media darling is because how he typically responds to a lot of things. He responds very cordially, very respectful. He don't jump out the window, and people could say, oh, well, he works at iHeart. He has a lot of leverage at iHeart, because honestly, I think he has the balls to literally like let his nuts hang on iHeart's desk and tell them, hey, without me, there is no iHeart. Without me, Breakfast Club does not exist. And I would say the same thing when it comes to other radio stations. Hot 97 would not be relevant without Ebro. Sirius FM would not be relevant without Howard Stern. Them radio stations are best known for them personalities, and Charlamagne is the most well-known personality at iHeart. So with that being said, if it wasn't for him, Angela Yee, and DJ Envy coming together to bring us the Breakfast Club years ago, who would be really listening to iHeart? Nobody. I say all that to say, even though Charlamagne has a lot of leverage at iHeart, he knows what he has to lose, and everything he's built up at iHeart and how much ownership he has over the Breakfast Club at iHeart, he knows that he got a lot to lose, and he's not about to risk it all just by running his mouth. And because he watches what he says 9 times out of 10, the media's reaction to Akademiks jumping out the window in a hypothetical vacuum, it would be bad. It would not go the way people think it would go. Now, of course, the Akademiks fan base would hypothetically eat that up, but I would argue YouTube would be like, aha, this is how we gonna get Akademiks out of here. It would have to depend on how far he'd be willing to go. If he was to go as far as to try to bring up allegations that's been against Charlamagne and try to lean into that, then I would argue something like that to that extreme, it may end up getting Akademiks banned outright from YouTube. Now, him just simply jumping out the window or maybe not going that far may get him demonetized. And that goes into a whole nother rabbit hole conversation of, well, if they were going to do that, H-Dog, then why would they wait till now? Well, because YouTube has this thing where they like to build a case against you. Just like if you're working your regular job, if you feel like your bosses are hounding you, or if you know a coworker that's, not pulling their weight and they're always in trouble, typically what they do is they'll build a case against you. After time has passed, they'll give you leeway to you to are able to fix the problem. And if you still have that problem, they'll pull you in. What YouTube would do is, their way of doing it would be either demonetization or banning. And people could also bring up the question, well, he's, talk crazy about other people. He even went as far as to try to name Freddie Gibbs' kid. But they would also look at the people who he went up against and be like, well, they were going pretty far with him too, and they were jumping out the window with that. But if it's somebody who is responding to Akademiks cordially or is being cordial to Akademiks, YouTube will look at that and be like, wait, you over here like talking mad reckless about this guy, but here he is, he's responding to you with the utmost respect. Then they may take that as a sign of, we may need to look into this. Couple that with being who it is, Charlamagne the God, start doing the math. I would even say the same for Joe Budden. Even though he's not considered a media darling, he is, although considered a anti-hero in the media. But the same thing could apply. If he was to talk crazy about Joe and jump out the window, then he could risk losing his monetization. Or if he was to bring up some shady stuff from his past, he could get banned as well, simply because of who it is you're going after. If it's a Joe or if it's a Charlamagne, you got a lot to lose in that regard. And Akademiks fan base may be split, and they may think, oh, Akademiks is gonna solve, he be holding back. There's a lot of people who he tends to have relationships with that he holds back on because of said relationship, no matter how crazy they talk about him. Hell, Charleston White even talked crazy about him, and he had nothing but good things to say about Charleston White. He didn't jump out the window against him. He responded to him cordially because of their relationship. He even had like a bit of a semi-response for Auburn Preach many months ago at this point. And even with that response, it was kind of like mostly cordial because of how Auburn Preach responded to him at first.
Relax, Shirley. Your man ain't here. And he couldn't afford to get in this building, okay?
Oh my God! Yo, can we stop? He couldn't afford to get in this building. What a loser, bro. What a loser. You couldn't afford to get in this club. That's how much money we got. First off, I've been in that building. It's not that impressive. Okay, it's fine. But to sit there and be like, who cares? Like, the people who brag about money like this in an argument are the biggest losers. Yeah, well, I make more bands than you. Okay. Yeah. I got a bigger dick than your... And you didn't notice? Look at the other guys at this panel. This dude's burying his head in his hand, right? This guy looks like he's completely disinterested. Even Sneako's doing the cringe face.
He said, being preach. First of all, boys was just trying to just get in the algorithm. It's cool. But here's the point. First of all, them niggas got some issue with Fresh and Fit. Bro, I'll be honest and I'll fuck with Fresh and Fit. They have a long-standing issue with them. My nigga, if they were, like, I seen them trying to give commentary, which, by the way, if I'm in the public news, I'm not above commentary, so I would never be mad about that.
And if you're the type of person to respond to Akademiks very cordially, 9 times out of 10, Akademiks, he may respond to it, but he ain't gonna jump out the window because he don't want to end up looking crazy. I'm just saying, the thing y'all want to see and the thing that y'all think it's gonna go, how it's gonna go, it's not gonna go the way you think. Act in denial. We always got to hear from Act how there's a mutual respect with him and Charlotte, but never Charlotte saying that. Act, stop giving Charlamagne so much respect. Those guys low-key dissing you. Act gotta stop being friends with these guys. He definitely sneak dissing, but Act in denial because he look up to him. Hashtag the Academy. Now, I think pretty much most of them comments, they pretty much are trolls that think, oh, we're gonna try to instigate a beef. We're going to try to sit here and say, oh yeah, and he's talking shit about you, to try to gaslight Akademiks into crashing out. But I don't really think it's going to work the way they think it's going to work. Because like I said before, at most, it'll end up being a by the numbers response that's pretty cordial on both fronts, which to some of Akademiks fans may make for boring content. And if you're in Akademiks streams, I'm pretty sure you may see one person spam the word boring like 6-7 times. But that's it, because at the end of the day, there's people out there that love drama, they get fueled off of it, and that's it. But y'all let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Till next time, I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.